Good morning, Clem, and everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. Karen and I had a good weekend. We went away down to Bellingham, Washington for relaxing time with friends, and we're able to get the bulk of our Christmas shopping done. So that's nice. I hope your Christmas plans are coming together at this point. Okay, weather report: sunny, cloudless, cool. It was frozen this morning. Doors were literally frozen shut in the car, but otherwise doing well. So, Ten Commandments. You shall have no other gods before me, and you shall not make an idol for yourself. That sure seems like a topic that's like way out there from long ago, or maybe geographically from a completely different place over there somewhere. Like, I don't know, maybe Africans still do it, or Polynesians, or whatever, but we don't have idols. So why are we talking about idols? Well, good news, actually bad news. We're actually pretty darn good at making idols, and we're going to cover that Wednesday, how modern society makes idols. Today, I want to talk about how easy it is to make an idol. I forget what I called today's, but I think I called it making an idol is far easier than you actually think it is. And we're going to look at the story in Exodus chapter 32. I talked about this a bit on Friday, but this was what was happening while Moses is up on the mountain getting the Ten Commandments from God at the exact same time that God is giving good commands, good principles for people to follow. They were down in the valley breaking them already, and breaking one of the most important ones. Not that some are more important than others, but they broke it in a big way. So let's take a look at that story. The next is chapter 32, in case you want to read it for yourself. And I do encourage you, whenever we're covering this, to get your Bibles out and read things for yourselves. This is called See If Scott's Telling the Truth or Not. So read it for yourself. But I do put it up here on the screen for you to see. So it says, when the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down the mountain, he was up there for quite a while. I forgot to look up how long he was up on the mountain as God did this process, but it wasn't like just a couple hours of up and back. This went on for a little bit of time. And when the people saw that Moses was taking a long time up in the mountains, they started to doubt both Moses and the God of Moses. It says they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what's happened to him." And that's actually a way of saying we don't know about Moses as God himself. Because remember, all along the way, Moses was making it clear that this was a new thing that was happening all around them, for as long as they knew that all of the countries around them, they had multiple gods in their belief system. That was just normal. Nobody believed in exclusive one God. And yet Moses had to bring this idea and this person of one God to the people. And so when they are doubting Moses himself, they are doubting the God of Moses. So we don't know what happened to this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt. And we don't know what has happened to him. So Aaron is Moses' close relative. He's number 2 in command of the country. He's kind of in charge while Moses is away. It's kind of like the president and the vice president or something of that nature. Aaron answered them. Aaron should have done, let me say this, what Aaron should have done as a good God follower and a good leader and spiritual guide is he should have challenged right away the very beliefs that the people were putting out there. There was no proof that anything had happened to Moses. He just hadn't come back as quick as they expected him to. And yes, when they looked up on the mountain, there was lots of fire and smoke and stuff happening and all that, but there was no proof that anything had happened to Moses. There's nothing actually unusual going on. It's just the normal human heart wants to doubt the things of God. And so Aaron should have stood up to that with courage in his heart. He should have stood before the people and say, no, we will continue to follow the God who brought us up out of Egypt. Moses did not bring us up out of Egypt per se. The God of Moses, the God of all of us, brought us out of Egypt. And you saw the miracles. You saw what God did. You saw the 10 plagues and how they worked on Pharaoh's heart. You saw how he released us to come to the promised land. You saw how he made a way through the Red Sea. You saw how he provided day by day for all that we needed. You saw these things. You need to stay committed to this promise-keeping God who has done so much good for us. Is that what Moses said? What Moses said is this. Or Aaron, I'm sorry, is that what Aaron said? No, Aaron says to them, all right, take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing and bring them to me. So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron, and he took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, have fashioned it with a tool, and then they said, these are our gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. Then, remember, gods, plural. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar. So now Aaron's participating in the whole thing. The people wanted a calf, and Aaron gives them a calf and an altar. And tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord. Isn't this interesting? They are saying, your gods, right here, your gods, and Aaron is saying, the Lord. Aaron is trying to have it both ways. He's trying to have a one God for the people to follow, while giving in to the people and giving them the idol that they want. So the next day, the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. And afterwards, they sat down to eat, drink, and got up to indulge in revelry, which means actually like party out of hand. Okay, that's what that is. So what's going on here? This is what's going on here. This is the process of idol making. And the reality is, this is what we still do in our own lives. And we're going to see that on Wednesday. First, there's a rejection or dissatisfaction with the one true God. So in their case, Moses hasn't come back in the timetable that we think he should. And now they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to be without any kind of a God or gods, just like the people all around them. So they go about making other gods first mentally. They first made a mental decision, a mental and emotional decision. We want another God. Then they made a physical idol to represent that God. And that's what Aaron did for them, along with an altar. That idol becomes the person's God. So now first you doubt God, then you make another God, and now you've substituted the little g God for the big G God. And then they bow down, worship, and serve that God, and the idol replaces God, and God is fully rejected at that point. That is what the children of Israel did while Moses was up on the mountain getting the 10 Commandments. They first doubted and began to reject. They built their own idol and their own gods. They then decided those gods are better than this God over here. So they began to bow down and worship, and then they followed that God over there, or those gods over there, who actually are powerless and worthless. But this is the human heart, how deceived we can be sometimes. We just insist on believing things that aren't true. So they fully gave themselves to this God over here, which led to bad behavior, and rejected this God over here. That's the process of idol making. It's actually quite easy. It actually happens quite fast. This all happened, it appears, in like a day or two. Really fast. They went from kind of following the one true God to worshiping a golden calf made out of earrings and rings that they had just been wearing, believing that somehow that gold had now become a real God who would take care of them. It happens so very fast. And that's our warning for the day. So anyway, idol making, way easier than you think it is. Wednesday, we'll look at how we do it in modern society. Between now and then, keep trusting the only true and real God, and have a good couple days.